Yo, GM, what is good, everybody? Gonna get this live underway in just a moment. How's everybody doing this Sunday? Get rid of that. We got some new graphics. Uh-oh. Rap's got some new graphics. Hey, GM JJ, what's good, my dude? Let me adjust this volume down. There we go, that should be better. Hey, what is good, everybody? It's your boy, Rapture, for another episode of The Weekly Close. Zero Koku GM, what's good, my dude? What is good? Some friendly faces. Always appreciate seeing the lads in the chat. How's everybody doing tonight? Got some new stuff going on. Let me there we go. Hey, some new avatar business going on, some new graphics going on, some new branding for Rapture, and the Scalp and Swing sessions, and a whole bunch of other stuff that I've been working on in the background. Some of the stuff that I've been talking about for the last little while that I've been working towards. No, branding isn't the bottom line of it. It's just a component of what I've been working on. But it's time to start rolling it out. Zero Koku says, new graphics are sick. Thank you, man. Did all of it solo using my new AI stack that I built from ground up, from layer 0. It's now where I got my own AI stack working for me. It does look sick. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. It's been a labor of love to get this shit a little bit better aligned with where I'm trying to take things. Now, not everything is rolled out yet. It's going to be an incremental rollout over the coming days. But I said to myself, you know what? I've got a live session tonight. Just start putting it out there. Just start putting the new shit out there. And kick your butt into gear so that it forces you to start putting more content out too. So here we are. Okay, let's switch this up and bring up. Now, like I was saying, not everything's been rolled out. So there are going to be still some of the old graphics here and there until I get everything rolled out properly. But I decided to give some little teasers of what I've been working on. Started teasing stuff in the Telegram channel over the weekend. Now I'm starting to roll it out for the live sessions. Anyways, let's pull up the main screen. What do we have here? We got the BTC weekly chart open. Oh, we got some alerts popping up. What's going on? Daily SFP for BTC just came in, and an H4 on Solana, and an H4 on the SPX. We'll take a look at all that. Biggest thing to note, though, is that weekly SFP from last week was negated. It was canceled out when we closed up and through it. But as I pointed out over, I think it was on Friday or might have been over the weekend, we finally went and took out that inside week high that we've been waiting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 weeks for it to do that. I'm not saying it's happening like this again, but this was an inside week that took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks before it took out the inside week high. I'm not suggesting that's what's going to happen. If this, then that, right? We had the if this. We had the inside week high taken out. I don't think there's been any significant market structure situation going on here. No, we even had a daily higher high here as we pop down to the daily. Before we get into all that, bring this over here. And like I said, not everything has been rolled out. Not all the graphics are updated. So you're still going to see instances of the old graphics while I work to get everything rolled out. I don't know if you guys know, but I am a one-man band. I do this all on my own. No team, just Rapture. So it takes me some time to get everything rolled out. And like I said, I was just like feeling, you know what? Today's the day to start pushing some of that stuff out. So it's in certain places. But you can see, like here, I got the old Scalp and Swing logo here. That thing's long gone now. It's going to be phased out pretty rapidly. Anyways, let's get to it since we are already 9 minutes in and I want to get right into this and not waste anybody's time. GM, and welcome to Rapture's Scalp and Swing sessions number 26. 26 of these bad boys, the weekly close show. We're going to take a look at our high time frame levels, discuss some strategy for the days and week ahead. We'll look at BTC, ETH, and SOL. We'll even take a look at the weekly macro dashboard to see what that's saying to us, what sort of vibe and where we should be focusing our efforts for the week ahead, if it's saying anything significant. I haven't looked at it since last week. And we'll also take a look at my Swing Screener Pro to see if there are any high time frame weekly SFPs of interest. And don't forget, if you're looking for an exchange, holler at the good folks over at BingX. Use code Rapture at bingx.com for sign-up bonuses. Okay, lads, let's dive right in because I think the last two of these, or last couple of these, I've kept them to about an hour, a little over an hour. I'm like maintain that cadence. Be respectful of everybody's time. Yours and mine. So, main thing. We're still within this daily bearish range. Let me change the music up real quick. I don't want this to just keep rocking the whole time. Put something on a little bit more chill. There we go. By the way, if anyone has any questions or anything, just feel free to dump them in the chat and say what's up on this beautiful Sunday evening. So the BTC daily chart, I mean, we're still trading with, it's a fucking ridiculous range, but this is your swing high to swing low of your primary daily range. This has all been internal chop. We're finally at the midpoint of the larger weekly range, right? This is your weekly swing high to swing low. We're now at the midpoint. Also taking out that weekly inside week range high, the range high of that inside week that we've been tracking for 11 weeks now. So that's worth noting. What we're going to do is we are going to update some levels here though, because we've made some movement. We've made an internal swing high. We've made an internal range higher high here with this close here. All right. So you have it closed above it. This was a decent short the other day, but it didn't really get the follow through. And now we're up into the range highs. Immediately what I can see, we're going to start moving some levels around and get aligned with where the chart is now. Excuse me. Let's extend these out a bit more. Keep that one there. We'll move this one up. Did we take out did we just SFP that? Is that what that was, that alert on BTC right here? Daily SFP, yeah, that's what this is right here. We're into a daily level, into the range midpoint, the weekly range midpoint, and the inside week range high. Some significant levels here. You can see the other day when we took it out, we did get a decent reaction for an intraday play. Now, oops, did that? No, I wanted to leave that one. We want to bring this one. There we go. So these are your immediate daily levels of interest. I think now we can put this here. These are your immediate daily levels of interest. I think what I'll do is these, I'm going to get rid of now. Clean it up a little bit so that we're not overrun by so many levels. But one thing that I do see, and I'm sure you can see it too, this is a whole, that's a whole lot of swing lows that have been untested on the way up. It's very unusual or very unlikely that none of that gets retested. Very unlikely that none of that gets retested. Now, it is the trend is your friend until, the trend is your friend. And it's been an internal range uptrend. No denying that. But this is a lot of untapped swing levels on the daily time frame on the way up. Right? There's no denying. There's a lot of in the money levered longs up through here that have yet to be challenged. So that's worth noting. Switch down to H12. Well, we can see that H12 bullish breaker ended up holding more than the H4 bearish breaker that was there. It's a lot of levels going on there. We're gonna have to clean all this up. But we had this H12 bullish breaker outlined, and that ended up being the trade. That was from maybe 2 sessions ago, though. No, maybe not quite. Almost last Sunday. So last Sunday we were down in here. We were trading somewhere in here. Well, that H12 bullish breaker ended up holding. What we can do now is we can get rid of this, clean this up a bit, start cleaning these levels up, start taking a look to see what is relevant here. Well, I think we bring this here. I think we can get rid of this one. Extend that further across. There we go. Well, there's our H12 levels. These are our immediate H12 levels of interest. Could you potentially be looking for shorts here? Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Look at the levels we're into, right? What I do see is, like I said, we had that daily SFP that's started to form here. If you get an H12 close below there, that would be a bullish breaker setup. I'm not going to outline that now, though. I don't want to over bear myself ahead of time or start framing shorts too early here. But these are our daily and H12 levels of interest. Let's go on to H4. Again, this is a lot going on this chart. Start cleaning this up. Get rid of that. I think this stays because it was clearly important. I don't think this is relevant anymore. Clear that. And all I'm trying to do right now is just clear up some levels so that we're not dealing with too much on the chart. I think we get rid of that and that. There we go. There we go. A little bit more cleaned up. These are our immediate levels of interest from daily, well, we have monthly level here, but that's not really in play right now, but we've got our weekly levels, daily, H12 and H4. There's our high time frame levels of interest on BTC. Now, if I were looking for a setup here, right, this was that H1 that gave a few intraday shorts, but it never really got the follow through. So let's clear that off because we did take out the high, so that H1 breaker is now negated or invalidated. It is a wide gap here to close off this M15 breaker, right? This would be set up here. If you were looking for a short here, that's a wide gap. So I'd likely look for a market structure shift style breaker. So I'm going to get rid of that for now. I don't see anything here right now. I do see and do recognize that we're into weekly bearish range midpoint, the weekly inside week range high, right? This inside week range high, we're into that. We're also into the weekly bearish range midpoint. There's some confluence sitting there. We're also potentially putting in a daily SFP into here. And there's a lot of untapped liquidity throughout this whole move up. Those are the things I noticed right now. Don't want to get bear hold here, but I do play the levels, level to level. High time frame levels are all that matter to me. I don't care if it's a long or a short. We're just looking at our high time frame levels. And this just looks shaky. This looks a little shaky to me. But those are our levels for BTC. We'll circle back and see if some sort of setup starts to play, or starts to form, right? Like, I don't think there's a point in looking for M5 here. Yeah, you do have a swing low that created that SFP. I don't really like M5 off of a weekly level, though. So we'll leave it at that. There's your levels for BTC. I will share these charts in the Telegram channel. By the way, if you're not a member of my Telegram channel, it is free public channel, Rapture's trade book, which you can find a link in the description for this video if you're joining on YouTube, or in my bio on Twitter, where I share setups a little bit more frequently, speak my mind a little bit more fluidly and frequently. And we'll be upping the output across all my channels, to be honest. Twitter's going to have it's going to see a massive output increase, especially with insights from my years of trading and all of the little pieces of nuggets that I've collected up over the years from just trading these markets and learning how to trade these markets, just from the experience of doing it all, so that my experience can help those that are a little bit less far along on their journey, and for people that are further along. You know, it's all useful, helpful, valid information, especially if you're trading the way that I trade. Those little nuggets. Okay. Let's move this along. Let's take a look at ETH. So ETH, weaker than BTC. We can see that immediately by looking at this chart, right? We can see BTC took out that high. ETH has not. Let's go to weekly though. So ETH held the weekly SFP that it did from last week, also into the weekly inside week range high, right? A lot of notable levels there. Here's the bearish daily breaker, right? This was the swing low that created the wick of the weekly SFP, closed below to confirm the breaker, the market structure break. We're retesting that breaker for now, multiple days up in here. A little bit more sideways chop than the BTC chart, right? A little bit more sideways chop than the BTC chart, where it's this upward trajectory chop. ETH has clearly gone more sideways here. So that breaker is still in play. Bring this up here. Start marking out some daily levels. I think that's still valid. Those are still valid. Not much more to mark out up in here. Let's go to H12. Well, you can see we had an H12 sweep here that led to a long, but within a bearish breaker. It's hard to want to take that long, but it was there. Let's take a look. For anyone that's curious, what would the entry have looked like on something like that? Well, there's the longs from last session that ended up playing out beautifully, right? The long from last session was outlined. I think we were trading. Did I do the session on Sunday or Monday? I can't remember. But we were trading somewhere here. I said, this is your long. Well, there it was. Get rid of that now. No other levels really to mark out here on H12. You can see this level has been acting as a lot of support. Is there any H4 levels? I think this one is still the same relevant level. Do I want to clean some of these up, though, is now the question. Do I want to be cleaning some of these up? I think I want to get rid of this. I don't think this is valid. I think now this comes over here. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this for now. Just to clean it up a little bit so it's not so busy. And this is Chop City. This is pretty ugly. But there's some cleaned up levels on ETH. Right? Similar to framing to what's going on BTC, except that ETH is trading within this bearish breaker and it's into those weekly levels here. Let's see what we can see here. And you can see this, is that an H1 bearish breaker? That's the H1 bearish breaker giving you resistance again within the daily breaker. I think if you're looking to short something, ETH is a cleaner short than BTC right now. This is a compelling situation here. Right? Stop would go above here, or if you want a tighter stop with a tighter invalidation, you stop here. If it starts trading up into this and starts slowly grinding through here, you just cut early. That is a short that I see there on ETH. Okay, let's move this along to Solana. And Solana clearly the weakest of the three. Much weaker than both BTC and ETH. So what do I see here? I can see now we have a weekly swing high here. That's going to be interesting to see what happens over the coming week or so if some interaction takes place there. Solana daily still chopping through this daily bearish breaker that's been established since a month ago. Right, what does that say? March 27th? Now we're April 26th. Yeah, this bearish breaker has been established for a month. That is a long-term pocket of supply. Long-term pocket of supply. I mean, look at how these levels are just pinning it down and continuously acting as resistance. Okay, well, there's some levels on Solana. Let's go to H12. Those are your daily levels. So again, though, it's been pinned between this H12 bullish breaker and daily bearish breaker. I think we can get rid of this now, though, because if it comes down here again, it's going to look pretty ugly for Solana. I mean, this is just apathy. There's nothing going on this. Switch to H4. Okay, there's a lot of levels. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on this chart. Just want to start cleaning it up. What is kind of interesting to me is if this right here closes an H4 SFP through this and also sweeps that level, kind of an interesting short there. All right. Also the Solana long from last Sunday. Well, that was the Pico bottom. Lately, I feel like I'm always trying to talk about shorts, but I've been giving you guys the longs too. So I don't know. I guess I'm just, I feel like I'm talking about shorts a lot more recently, but I've been giving you the longs. So that's why we try to remain bias agnostic, and we just trade the high time frame levels, whatever the chart tells us, rather than having a bias, a predetermined bias, and feeling like we have to trade that. We just look at the levels and see the interactions at our high time frame levels. That's what I'm all about. So my strategy is all about high time frame levels, mapping your monthly, weekly, daily, H12, H4. Swing highs, swing lows, range defining swing highs and swing lows, range quarters on the weekly, significant monthly closes on monthly. Yeah, this is right. We're into that weekly range quarter level, into this level that's given it a lot of trouble before. There's a case to be said here. I don't want to be jumping the gun on shorts right now, though. Just given that BTC made a weekly close above that SFP level, that shows significant strength after SFP closed the week before. But we are into that weekly inside week range high on BTC. So I am definitely circling that. I know we're looking at SOL here, but I just have BTC in the back of my mind. Why do I have that as the bottom of that? Excuse me. Why do I have that as the bottom of that when the breaker's right here? Tightens that up for you, right? Into that level. I don't know. Solana's definitely, even though it's up the most right now, it feels like it stands to, it's kind of the cleaner short to me. Let's come back here to BTC. We are into some significant levels across all three, right? Like let's just stick to H4 and above for now and just be subjective. Sorry, objective. Objective? Subjective? I don't know. I've had a few drinks. We're into significant weekly levels on BTC. Same for ETH. Same for Solana. I feel like news and headlines haven't been affecting the market as much the last little week or so, which is nice. Like, wasn't there some attempt, some gun violence related something with Trump and the president's dinner or something? I didn't follow it at all, to be honest. I'm so far removed from day-to-day news, but it didn't impact. Like, when was that? Last night, I think, right? Where would that have even been? Somewhere in here, and you barely got to move. The market barely budged. So when stuff like that is taking place and you're not really seeing any response from the market in a negative way, that's usually a pretty good sign. But we're into these high time frame levels, and I don't like to give myself a bias because of news. I just like to trade the levels. I mean, if you really want to early trade here on BTC for a short, it's here. Close below that on M5, right? Like, not just a wick like that, but an actual close below here on M5. Short a retest. I'd much prefer. So what we might be getting the forming of, if this M15 candle closes like this, it's 9 minutes to go, so it's still a ways to go. But if it closes like this, is a swing, an internal swing low after the SFP. So that would be a market structure shift level, right? An unconfirmed market structure shift level. So I'd move this to here. Only if this candle closes somewhere here and you get this wick, this swing low here, then you can mark this out as a potential market structure shift breaker. yet to be confirmed because you need to close below and then you short a retest. That is something I see right there. We'll come back to this in 9 minutes, 8.5 minutes to see if it closes like that, because then we can call this a market structure shift style breaker. I mean, SPX was just like all-time highs for the close, and now new all-time high today on futures. Like SPX is at all-time highs right now. What's the crazy thing is that, you know, crypto's been so weak. Yes, it's had a good couple of weeks, right? Yes, we've had a good couple of weeks here, but look at the strength on SPX. New all-time highs right now. Zero Koku. On one head, we have the fair value gap, the FEG, just above then the 84K CME gap from Fed that never got filled. But on the other hand, everyone and their mother calling for mid-80s. Yeah, I try not to concern myself with what people are calling for. It doesn't really, that's not a trade, right? And just to say, oh, you should counter trade that or feel sort of bearish because people are calling for something like that. I don't know. I try to just not focus on any of that. And it really is just for me. And I know I talk about this time and time again on every single one of these, but it's just what happens when price gets to one of my levels? And is the trade there? Like, it's not an automatic trade. It's just, how does price interact with that level? Does it give me the setup? Is it on a time frame that I'm comfortable with for the setup under the context? Then if it is, then yeah, just take the trade. If not, then just wait for the next opportunity. This is like, SPX is crazy strong. Let's come back over here. You're saying people are calling for mid-80s. I mean, it's not out of the question. There is a monthly level there, right? We're finally trading up into that, like above that monthly lower low level. You know, we just pierced it last month. We're now trading up a little bit higher into it. Could we get up to here to mid 80s? It's not out of the question. It's absolutely not out of the question. It also depends on what your time frame is. Like, what's your time horizon on these trades? If you know, you've been with me long enough now that you know that my time horizon is intraday, and I don't care what happens beyond that. It's just what happens when price gets to one of my levels, and is there a trade there? Looking likely that we'll get that internal swing low printed there, and then we have the makings of a breaker. It's not confirmed, and I'm not saying this is the trade. If you're looking for a short, I'm just saying this would be the first setup that I'd eye. Okay, well, that's our high time frame levels across BTC, ETH, and SOL. Man, this thing is just wild. I mean, let me put this here. See what happens here. It just looks so strong. It's crazy. It's crazy. This thing's just got a mind of its own. This also doesn't look very, this doesn't look like natural price action. Like, this looks very suspect. Right, look how normal candles look, right? It's two-way trade. Even here, through this crazy uptrend, you still had two-way trade, whereas this was just insane. A little bit of chop and now up again. I mean, maybe it's just risk on. Shit's full on bullish. I don't know. You know, we were dialed and nailed the move once we got the weekly bearish breaker over here, right? Once we got the close below retest, short and off of that monthly level. We got, right? Or sorry, it was a weekly level. This one here. But ever since then, this thing's been trading like crazy, and I just haven't been tracking it that much because it hasn't been trading very naturally. And I don't like to focus on things that my edge is not dialed in at the time. Like, right? This is just gnarly looking stuff. There's no setups here for me. Did we have a setup there? Oh, you had an H4 SFP here. But beyond that, like on the way up, there was no real setups. Oh, you had this bearish SFP that gave follow through. But TLDR, or long story short, Eli 5 it. I haven't been focused as much on SPX since the recovery, which sounds crazy because this is a lot of upside, but I need to trade where my strategy works, and I know what my strengths are, and that's just trading the high time frame levels, and this hasn't been giving levels to trade off of. Okay, so there is BTC, there is ETH, there is SOL. We'll come back to these in a bit. So what next? We're at just 40 minutes. Definitely getting through these quicker at a faster clip, a better cadence, which good for me. Good for you, Rap. Good for you, Rap. So we took a look at our high time frame levels. We discussed some strategy. We're potentially looking for shorts across BTC, ETH, and SOL. But if the short isn't here, we'll just wait for the next one. We had the long from last week. I don't think you're looking for longs here where we are necessarily, especially not with the strategy that I trade. We'd need at least some sort of pullback into, I'd like it into like a nice H12 level. But if this, then that, we can't predict. We just react and respond to the levels. Let's take a look at the weekly macro dashboard and see what that is telling us. Switch back over here. We'll pop it on the weekly. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. What do we have here? We got the BTC chart, BTC dominance, total ES divided by BTC, which is the total crypto market cap, excluding stables, divided by BTC, which is my inverse Bitcoin chart and barometer for altcoin health. And last week I said, I don't think you want to be trading alts. And look, alts just shat the bed while BTC has been on a ripper. BTCD has been on a ripper. We got USDT dominance here, ETH BTC, SOL BTC, and SOL ETH. Now, last week I said Solana was kind of attractive. Well, look, it just did not work out that way, right? SOL BTC shot the bed further. ETH BTC barely holding on. So I did not get that correct signal from this dashboard last week. And BTC has continued to push up. We're now up into the supply. So let's take a look at these one by one. I think I even outlined some H12. No, it wasn't on BTCD, but we are up deeper into an area of supply on BTCD. Again, the weekly macro dashboard is not in itself a reason to take a trade. It's just where we focus our attention. It just tells us, hey, maybe you should be focused here rather than here, so that your trades have more weight behind them or more impact behind them because you're trading with the macro environment. So BTCD is up into an area of weekly supply, but we're not at anything of note right now. I'm going to mark this out because maybe this becomes significant. Maybe BTCD wants to push up into 61.5% from its 60.6. Maybe BTC is going to push up a little bit further here. We had that weekly move off of there, off the demand. Well, we're now up into supply. And you know what? BTCD going up is healthy. BTCD going up is healthy if you want to see a more sustainable rally in the market. You want capital to flow into BTC first so that it can trickle towards other assets. Dweller, hey, what's up, my dude? Long time, homie. Long time. Hope you're doing all right. It's good to see you in the chat. Man, oh man. What up, my dude? So last week we were looking at total ES BTC, and I said, ugh, I don't like alts at all. And look, alts are just shit in the bed. I have not really looked at an altcoin chart in a while. And you know why? I can look at this and say, I don't want to be trading alts. I don't want to be trading alts. Well, you guys know by now that I mostly focus on the majors because they give me those consistent setups and predictable, a strategy that I can be predictable with and reliable and consistent with. Alts just give, the strategy works perfectly fine on them. It's just not the way that I like to focus because I find alts you need to be a lot more focused on. Whereas BTC ETH SOL aligns with my lifestyle. So, total ES, the total crypto market cap excluding stablecoins divided by BTC, that's a tongue twister and a half. Blah. The total crypto market cap excluding stablecoins divided by BTC. That's what this is. Which is just a fancy way of saying altcoins against BTC. And I like this better than total 3 or total 2 because it's excluding stablecoins. That's it also gives you good signal here. So this is really compelling and interesting, right? This is a good sign for market health overall when you have BTCD ripping, alts shitting the bed, and USDT dominance coming down. It says that capital is flowing out of the sidelines, specifically into BTC, which is where you want to see wealth created so that it can trickle into other parts of the market. So it makes sense that altcoins are suffering right now. Let's take a look at this. This maybe looks like it wants to go up from here a bit. Last week I said maybe it was going to go up more. It ended up trending back down towards the wick and into that level again. This does look like a temporary starting to bottom. Oh, look at that. We had that drawn out. Well, we haven't violated the low. We're still in here. Maybe it's trying to bottom here, and maybe BTCD may come down a bit. But, this is certainly telling me don't trade alts. I also said last week, ETH looks like it wants to, against BTC, shit the bed after we put in that SFP. Look at that. We had the follow through on ETH BTC this over last week. And we can clearly see it. ETH was weaker. And the one thing I definitely got wrong was I thought Solana was a compelling case to long versus BTC and ETH. And that was wrong. Shat the bed. Solana BTC looks like shit. SOL BTC does look like it's trying to bottom. But that could just mean that ETH is going to nuke. Maybe that just means ETH is going to continue to nuke as it's been lagging BTC. And Solana may just maybe means it's not going to go down as much as ETH and it's going to stabilize. I don't know. This isn't saying to me be long Solana, especially off of this. Like this here is not saying long Solana. This looks sad, to be honest with you. And it definitely gives off. At some point this bottomed, right? ETH BTC at some point at bottom, but right now, SOL BTC is doing a very similar fractal. Okay, so where does that leave us? What am I seeing here based off of the weekly macro dashboard? I think BTC can push up further. I think alts may get some temporary relief, but this just looks awful, so I wouldn't want to be involved with alts at all. Outside the pockets, occasionally there's a hot altcoin. It's just not worth your main focus or effort, though. All the weekly macro dashboard is telling me right now is all you needed to do was trade BTC last week. And likely continuously so. This looks like it wants to push up. a little bit more. Maybe USDTD wants to bottom which maybe this rolls over a little bit before another leg up. But this does say to me, focus BTC. ETH is probably the better short compared to Solana, where we are right now. But I don't really want to trade Solana. Just looking at these. Watch it bottoms here. This is just telling me focus on BTC. It's truthfully. Yes, we're into supply, but there's no high time frame level that we've taken out here. I would want to see it come up into here. So maybe BTC pushes up into here, or maybe it pushes up into 62% again, right? Like this has room for more upside. That's what I would focus on there. Okay, lads, any questions on the weekly macro dashboard? Feel free to drop them in the chat. Let's swing back over here. Okay, let's take a look at some high time frame SFPs. Let's open up. Let's open up a high time frame swing screener pro and take a look if there's been any interesting or significant SFPs on weekly. Where should we start? Let's start at breakout, see if there's any interesting weekly SFPs that took place there. Floki, well, what are we at volume wise? Super low volume. The only thing that might be worth looking at is Aster, but these other ones, 24-hour volume is garbage. Let's take a look at Hyperliquid. I have not updated my Hyperliquid asset list in a while. A lot of weekly SFPs, but then if we go over here and we filter, let's put this on. Let's just put it at 30 mil because alts have been so battered that is anything really going to be at 50 mil, 24-hour volume? Did that just say there's nothing over 30 mil? What the shit? Whoa. Wild. There are a lot of weekly SFPs here, but none of them are even remotely close to the threshold that I would do. I usually use 50 million 24-hour volume as my volume threshold for volatility, you know, just for a little bit of stability off levels. If it's lower 24-hour volume, you're just susceptible to more fake outs, more wild wick swings. Even if your trade setup is accurate, your level may get taken out and then the trade happens without you. It's not really what I'm interested in. That's why I like to have it above a certain threshold, and there's nothing, right? Like let's put this 30 mil minimum 24-hour volume back on, and then let's just go trek through other. Let's see what's happening on lighter. Aster is the only one, which was the other only one from breakout, right? Aster. So we're going to take a look at that. What are other orderly? Let's see what's happening on orderly. Hyper. What is hyper? That's a lot of 24-hour volume. Might be worth taking a look at. Mira. I don't really want to look at that. We'll pop it on there. I don't know what fun is, but it has 0 volume, which is why it's showing there. Needs to be removed. Let's take a look and see what's on the Bing X list. It's a long list. It's got a lot of assets to go through. Not a damn thing with a weekly SFP over 30 mil. Okay. So we've made a little short list, right? I haven't pruned this list in a while. That is my job this week, is to prune the weekly SFP list so that we can see, because these are really the only 3. So we can see, yeah. Let's pop back over here really quickly. We'll go to my high time frame swing dashboard. Okay, well, hype is trading up towards this H12 breaker. Right there. There's your H12 bearish breaker. Hype is up into there. Kind of interesting. Was this on daily before? Hype is looking, decently strong, but it is up into a H12 breaker. But Hype was not one of the assets that gave me the ping. What was it? It was Aster. Let's take a look at Aster. Where's the weekly asset? Look at this. Who wants to be trading this? But if you're asking where that weekly SFP was, it's right here. There's your weekly SFP on Aster. This was the old weekly SFP. It never even got up in there to take it out. So where's the high? There's the high. So there's your weekly SFP, H12 bearish breaker confirmed on Aster. That's a valid short right there. Shorting from somewhere inside this box is a valid short on Aster. But look at the lack of volatility here. Like, do you really want to be trading this? I don't know. What was the other one? Someone remind Hyper? I don't even know what this is. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, let's go top down on this one. Where are we at? 54 minutes. Let's do this real quick. Okay, so what do I see? Where is the listing? There's the BTC, the Binance listing price. Here's the significant low close. Go to weekly. See what we've got. There it is right there, right? And there's the weekly SFP. You also took out a level up here and up here. It took out like everything. Gnarly. I don't know what this is though. So do you want to be trading something like this? I don't know, but that is a short zone right there. It's a market structure shift style breaker. It has not confirmed yet. You need the H12 close below. If you get this closes below here, this whole region is a short. It's just a matter of looking for a trigger. I don't want to spend too much time on this though, because this, like, these type of coins, if you like trading these kind of coins, more power to you. It's not really my focus. What was the last one from the list? Mira. I don't even know. Where's the weekly SFP? Oh, there it is. Yeah. No, it's not getting back up there. Nuh-uh, nuh-uh, nuh-uh. I don't know. Zero interest really in looking at coins like this. I mean, it's been trading fairly clean in this range, but you're at the range high now with the weekly SFP. This wick is really gnarly because your stop would have to go up there, which I don't love. You could base it off something in here. I'm not going to waste time on this though, because are any of you going to be trading this Mira coin? I don't know. Maybe you are. If you are, drop it in the chat. Let me know. But personally, I don't want to waste time looking at it. So, what was the main one? Aster. Yeah, there's your setup. This is ugly price action though. Let's not waste our time on this. Let's not waste our time on this. Let's go back to the majors and see. Okay, let's check back in with BTC. Let's take a look at what happened here. So you did confirm that market structure shift. No, sorry, you did not confirm it. You did complete the box by setting the swing low. So this is the market structure shift level. If price closes below here on M15, you short or retest. You could debate whether you want to take a short off of that level right there that it swept, stop up here. You know, you have a very tight invalidation there. That if you're feeling frisky and want to get on board or trade before the structure change, not what I recommend necessarily, but that is there. Like, I think if you do want to do that, ideally, at a minimum, you wait for a close below here and then retest it, a shorter retest into there. But this is not the prime setup for me. What it would be is close below here, shorter retest. Okay, lads, are there any questions before we wrap this up? We have our high time frame levels on BTC. Mapped out and ready to go. Our high time frame levels on ETH, mapped out and ready to go. Our high time frame levels on Solana, mapped out and ready to go. What do I always say? Do your high time frame level mapping in advance, mark out your horizontals, then have the patience to wait for your levels to get hit. And if you get the interaction you're looking for at the level, take the trade. We don't have any of those setups right now, just yet. There's potential for them forming in this region, right? But nothing is, I have no setups here right now. And I don't want to go below M15 on a weekly level. You know, we could look at M5, sure. But for me, M15 is really that sweet spot. And I just don't have a setup here yet. Yes, we've outlined a potential market structure shift style breaker here on BTC. We'd have a potential here on Solana, but this swing high isn't even set yet, so I can't even mark that out. It's too premature. And on ETH, maybe it's this, you know, maybe it's this. Maybe it's that. Maybe these are the setups you're looking for, but nothing's confirmed. Like I said, until a setup confirms, like we have the signal, we have signal. What is the first step of my signal in my inception style of trades? You know, you get your high time frame signal, which is an SFP into a high time frame level, or a sweep into a high time frame level, or a high time frame market structure break, meaning a lower low or a higher high, or a high time frame breaker confirmed. We're not dealing with any of that right now. Well, we are dealing with the high time frame signal, being that we've taken out high time frame levels. Next would be the mid time frame setup. In this case, we're waiting for potential breakers to confirm. None of that has happened just yet. And then after that, you're waiting for the low time frame signal within that mid time frame setup. We're just on stage one so far, which is the high time frame signal. Beyond that, there's nothing else to do. So we just have patience. We don't try and force a trade. We don't have to be in a trade. We just wait to see if we get the interaction in price that we're looking for at the level. If it sets up and takes place, then we have a trade. If not, we do nothing and we don't force anything. And with that, lads, we're just beyond the 1 hour mark. I'm going to wrap it up. I do appreciate each of you that have joined me for another one of Rapture's Scalp and Swing sessions. This has been number 26, the weekly close show. And as I said, new branding beginning to roll out. And with it is going to be a significant content output push. Overall, not just, you know, not just for the sake of it, but quality lessons, quality insights from my experience trading, from going on at least 5 years now. It's been a while. So I do appreciate each and every one of you. Let me just say before I sign out, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you enjoy what I'm doing to help support the growth of this show and to help me extend reach, to help more people along their trading journey. I might be 10 steps ahead. I might be only 1 step ahead of where you are on your journey. But that step, that incremental step, regardless of where you are on your own journey, you can take my years of experience and knowledge that I've distilled, that I've worked towards to make this strategy, and inject it into your veins in a shorter period of time. You know, when I was deep in my learning and trial and error and iterating phases, I consumed so goddamn much from some of the greats in the industry. Hours and hours and hours daily, to now where I'm at a place where I can relay it to you based off of what works for me, not just regurgitating a whole bunch of different shit. No, this is what actually worked for me. The pieces that I've taken that made sense and that I was able to package into my own strategy that aligns with my personality and my availability and the type of life that I want. And on that note, lads, once again, I am Rapture, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Have yourselves a beautiful evening.